Good morning and welcome. Today's session is focused on understanding how a fleet-driven organization transformed its operations using technology and how the right digital solution can simplify planning, coordination, and visibility across fleet operations. I'm pleased to be joined today by one of our valued clients, Todd. Hi, Todd. Welcome. It's great to have you here today. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Radu. Thank you for having me.
That's great to hear. Thank you for joining us. For context, I represent OfficeHub Tech, an authorized Zoho partner. Over the course of today's conversation, we will be discussing how we worked closely with you to design and implement a Zoho Creator-based solution that supports your fleet operations, improves visibility, and streamlines day-to-day execution. Let's get started. To set the context, could you please give us a quick overview of your company, what your organization does, the industry you are in, and your location?
Okay, yeah. So my name is Todd Hill. I'm with Marianna Fundraisers, and we are based in central Pennsylvania. We work with schools, churches, fire halls, many other nonprofit organizations to help them raise money for their causes. So we have different food products that we offer. Primarily pizzas and hoagies, but we do some other items as well. So, our business really depends on, strong coordination between sales and scheduling and production and delivery. So that's basically it in a nutshell.
That's a helpful overview, Todd. And it gives a good sense of the scale and nature of your operations. To understand your involvement a bit better, what is your role and how were you involved in implementing Zoho Creator?
Sure. So I actually serve as president of the company, and I was closely involved pretty much throughout the entire development and implementation. Basically, my role was to help define the business requirements, the workflows, and work with the entire sales team on how the system needed to function. And especially in our work environment, it's quite different. A lot of my involvement, was around the scheduling, routing, truck capacities, and dashboard expectations, and just really making sure, I guess, that the system matched how our team actually books these sales and manages the deliveries every day. So.
Okay, that clearly shows how closely you were involved in shaping the solution. Before the implementation began, most fleet-based organizations face some operational challenges. So I would like to understand what challenges or inefficiencies were you facing before using Zoho Creator?
Oh my goodness. Boy, it's a lot. Before implementing Zoho, one of our biggest challenges was our scheduling and delivery planning. The process involved a lot of manual coordination between calendars, spreadsheets, customer records, and just internal communication. It works to a point, but then it becomes way too time consuming and really just left for inefficiencies. So basically, when a customer calls us and wants to book a fundraiser, our team had to spend a lot of time figuring out, whether the delivery date would actually work based on our truck availability, route fit, existing bookings we had on the books. That meant really checking multiple places for our information, relying heavily, on experience and manual judgment rather than having, like one system that, where we could go for like a one-stop shop. We also had gaps in our systems, customer information, delivery planning, reporting. They weren't as connected as what they really needed to be. That created duplicate work for a lot of what we did. And as our business continues to grow, those challenges just really became more and more like noticeable. And again, a lot of time was spent, kind of chasing our tail, so to speak. We looked at different approaches. I think, what's available out there in these canned software programs, very specific, and didn't really meet our needs. So that's, that was kind of like a turning point for us when we were really out there looking and decided, what direction we wanted to go.
Okay, got you. So those challenges clearly highlight the complexity involved. So building on that, how did these challenges affect your productivity or business outcomes? And what made you decide that a custom solution was needed instead of existing tools or manual processes?
Well, I mean, the challenges that I was speaking about, it definitely affected our productivity. Our team was spending way too much time coordinating, the information that they needed manually, checking different sources. It was a lot. And, and internally, just, we needed something faster and easier, it's the things that we did really slowed our booking process down, which in turn, kind of affected how quickly we responded to our customers. And all that kind of creates risk too, with everything. Anytime, you're working across multiple spreadsheets, calendars, all those different systems, there's a lot more opportunity for missed details, inconsistencies and delays. So as our order volume grows, that certainly became harder to manage. And like I said, I think, we realized that, just the off-the-shelf stuff and the things that we were working with, within our system and all the manual workarounds, they weren't really solving our problem. They really, as far as like the workflows, and especially when it comes to, scheduling, delivery or delivery scheduling, and, route planning, just trying to, tie all that up into one piece. That's what we were really looking for. So that's why we kind of came, that, these box systems, we really needed something that was more of a custom solution. Our system is really, really different. The way we have to schedule our production, we make same day fresh. All our systems need to be very tight. The way some of these other systems work, they didn't give us a lot of flexibility. So basically, we needed something that was built around our workflow, something that we could automate the right tasks, improve like the visibility of the data that we need, and give our team like a practical, decision-making tool whenever they're sitting there trying to book a customer. So Zoho, kind of gave us everything that we were looking for there, especially, creating that flexibility around our business.
That really explains why a purpose-built solution became essential for your business. Now let's talk about the solution itself. Can you walk us through a few key modules in the Zoho Creator application and explain the purpose and functionality of any of those?
Okay, yeah. So we have a lot of different modules in our application. Our main one, I call it the heart of our system, is probably the booking module. And that's where, the team enters the delivery details, customer information, projected sales, other, key booking information. From there, the system helps us, kind of evaluate the scheduling options, so to speak, with our route and truck availability. We have a calendar and scheduling views. Those are extremely valuable for us. They allow our team to look at the delivery dates, visualize better and better understand what area they need to focus in on, where there's openings, and we're able to book people in those spots. We also have a map module, which is very, very useful, and we basically take the booking data to be able to and plot deliveries, and we can go in and look at any given day and see all of our stops, time of those stops. Again, another tool to help us hone in on spots that we have available. Let's see, we have what we call our booking dashboard that helps us manage the delivery capacities and making sure that we can fit these things on our truck, make sure we're not running our trucks too long on any given route. That's been a major improvement for us. We have a customer module where we keep all our customer information organized, and that helps make sure that the data, stays consistent across our entire system. Where when we were doing it manually, it was we had several different depositories, so to speak, for different customer information. So, that part of it's really nice too, cutting down on duplicate entry, and just the accuracy. And then we have the, reports and analytics, that's helped both our sales team and our production team, find the information that they need to do their jobs. But, it helps them do their job, and with the data and information that they need. So, with that, we can go in and anything that it takes to help them to do their job, they can go in and easily get that data and use it for what they need.
Yeah, understood. That's a great explanation of how the system supports your fleet planning and operations. Now, moving to the integration part. Integrations often play a critical role in making these solutions effective. So, Were there any integrations with other tools or systems?
Yeah. So, our CRM system is we use Sage 100, and we needed it to be able to integrate into that. Sage 100 is a very powerful, accounting CRM. And, but that said, it does lack on the backside with customer service. But, but even in more detail, we needed something to help us, be able to get that information in there. And, what we've done with this custom solution just helps us reduce all the manual entry that we need to do, where we would do it in our Sage system and do it outside of Sage system many, many times in many areas, whether it's on our calendar, whether it's in spreadsheets, we're putting the same information there, same information on our calendar, and same information then we would have to manually do into our Sage 100. So now we can, pull up a customer sheet, entry sheet, and we can push that right into our Sage systems. And all the booking information, all of it's there. It pushes into our Sage 100. The other thing that we integrated that I again find so helpful, our team does too, is the Google Maps. That's just been very valuable for scheduling and from a routing standpoint. Just being able to visualize the deliveries and better understand, where they are on the routes and finding those slots. It's just been a very, practical tool, in our process. So, and kind of a latecomer on board was the Zoho Analytics. We didn't realize how much we needed that until, it was suggested by your team that we bring that on to give us some better, stronger reporting. And that's been, immensely helpful in a lot of different ways. And plus that, we can use that as a standalone, or, it's actually integrated, into our app, which has been very nice. So, together, all these tools integrated together, and then integrated into our Sage 100 has just been, a real game changer.
Thank you for your wonderful feedback. So after the integrations, what key improvements have you seen since implementation in terms of efficiency, time savings, or cost?
Yeah, so one of the biggest improvements I think overall is just the data visibility, where we can go anywhere and find the data that we need, very easily. We now have a much better way to, see the scheduling information, delivery activity, customer related data, so it's all there and connected. So, that alone makes us more efficient. We reduced a lot of the back and forth between, reducing all that manual effort, where we do the booking and all the data goes to where it needs to go. And everybody has their piece, and whatever they need, they can extract it from there. The team really can make decisions a lot faster, easier, probably even with more confidence, with that kind of information, so we're just better organized in that aspect. So, our workflow, and I would say with the automations, a lot of our automations are email automations that are follow-ups with the customer, with our booking information, reminders, things like that has really strengthened that customer relationship. So that has become, very valuable. It's been a valuable tool, but it's also one of those things that took a lot off of our plate to remember to do all those things. Because I got to admit, I'm sure we forgot, a lot. When our team gets busy, it's just the antiquated system that we had, it would probably be easy to miss. So, I mean, just overall, I think, it's just helped us move towards, like a more streamlined operation. I can't even really quantify it. It's helped us so much.
Those outcomes sound like a significant step forward for your operations.
For
From
sure.
a measurable results or team feedback perspective, can you share some measurable outcomes of feedback from your team or from other departments of your organization?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the feedback from our team has been very positive. In the beginning, until everybody really understood the system and everything that we had built around it, it's like anything new. They kind of hesitate a little bit and like, okay, but now I think, especially centering around all the, the data that it can, readily find, and it's more organized. People really appreciate being able to work from a system, I think, that reflects, how the business actually operates, then rather than having to piecemeal it all together to do their jobs, if that makes sense. And from an implementation standpoint, I think that your company, the OfficeHub Tech team, they've been very involved and responsive, throughout the project. So I'd like to just say that, I would, rate their overall commitment very, very high. Like I said, you and the entire team, worked with many people over time, took time to understand our requirements. We had a lot of challenges, and some of them I didn't even think we'd be able to work through. But each time you really stayed patient and you worked with us through those. You guys stayed engaged until we solved the problems. So that was very refreshing. I think you don't get that from a lot of companies. And I think for us, the biggest measurable benefit is, again, the improvement in the overall efficiency. We would just reduce so much in the manual handling, just the improved access to information. It really created a solid foundation to make our business operations so much easier, faster. And that's really important when, we're making all these decisions to help get our customers on the books. It's done a lot for, our customer end of things, which is the most important to us.
That's a great feedback, Todd. Very happy to hear that from you. And do you plan to expand or enhance the solution further?
Yeah, we definitely do. We actually have uh, uh, an expansion project going on right now, and we're looking to get into a larger facility. That's going to take some time, but we do. But I think what we're going to do first is, take that step first, because then we're going to bring on a lot more um, uh, customers for one, but that also means a lot more equipment, a lot more production capacity, a lot of different systems, I should say, that we can include in the next round, that, so that we capture everything and don't really get too many things that are piecemealed together. So that's kind of our plan. We certainly do plan on continuing to build off the solution, um, as you know, as we grow and as we evolve. But I think this is certainly the right platform for us.
That's exciting to hear and speaks to the scalability of the solution. As we wrap up with one final question, would you recommend Zoho Creator and OfficeHub Tech to other businesses, and why?
Yeah, I mean, I would. I recommend Zoho Creator. I mean, and you folks there at OfficeHub Tech. Originally when we first started looking for solutions, we were in quite a few meetings with some other companies. We certainly felt like your company was willing to, work with us with the Zoho Creator, and just to back up a little bit, the Zoho Creator portion of it was something I think that we identified early on as something that could give us everything that we needed, based on some of the other testimonials out there that we saw, and some other companies using Zoho Creator. But then your company was able to, really help us implement that, create it, and implement the system and integrate it into our system. So, we have some very unique workflows, and I think they were challenging to us and your staff, and trying to get it exactly the way we needed it to be. And the more you guys really took the time to learn our business and what we do, and then I think, with that, we're able to really understand what we were looking for and actually put those things into place for us. Sometimes we wouldn't compromise. This is the way we need it. And sometimes there were other solutions, but it didn't really fit, what we were trying to do on our end. And, for 30 other reasons around this center thing. But you guys were very patient with us, and we appreciate you guys, certainly taking the time to understand it all, and the patience with us to work through it. So, I think what really stands out with me is just, everyone's flexibility, and understanding our operational needs. I think everything with Zoho Creator, and everything that was able to do for us, just the platform flexibility, and then the strong implementation from, your side, I think made it, a successful project for us. So I would definitely recommend to any business if they want to improve their efficiency, reduce work, I think this is the kind of solution that could, help them deliver that.
That was a really very wonderful feedback, Todd. And the session was extremely insightful. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your experience so openly. It's been great hearing how your fleet operations have evolved with the support of tailored Zoho Creator solution and the collaboration between you and OfficeHub Tech. We truly appreciate your trust and partnership with OfficeHub Tech. With that, we will wrap up today's session. Thank you once again, Todd, for your time today. Really appreciable.
Very welcome, Ridu.